Hey, welcome back to another episode of Yoshi's Island. I hope you're doing well. We're going to get started today with 3-1, and that one is called Welcome to Monkey World. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I already live in a monkey world, but anyway, so this is the beginning of World 3. World 3 is going to be more of like a tropical jungle kind of theme. A lot of monkeys. You know, sometimes they'll take off with baby Marios and like they'll do things like they'll throw stuff like that, you know, just monkeying around. I think they're called Ukis. I think that's what they're called in the Mario games. But like, you know, just kind of like they are in Mario 64. They're not that big of a deal, but they're a bit of a nuisance. The only way to really knock one out is to like eat it. Otherwise, like, they will get back up. Like, well, you can jump on them like that and kick them. Well, that was close. But like, it doesn't really, like, I don't know. It's almost better just to like grab them and eat them. And they also will have like watermelons like that, and it'll be half eaten, so it's not as good as like if you were to do that. But you might have seen back here, if I remember correctly, you see that? If I remember correctly, you have to come over here and jump under and swim under. I don't know how you're supposed to figure that out. I don't even know how I figured it out, to be honest. I think I just got lucky one day. But that's how you do it. And then you get up here with these donut lifts. Yeah, I think there's just one up guys, right? Nice. Nice. One up. Oh, come on now. You were doing great. Well, we didn't get that last one, but that's alright. Like, that was what, 7 lives or something like that? That's not too bad. Not too shabby. But yeah, this is the part of this is roughly around the time the game actually starts getting like more difficult. I don't remember if I ever explained it, but there's like 6 worlds in this one. There's not 8 like there typically is in Mario, you know, other Mario games. But so there's like 6 worlds in this one. Oh, I got another watermelon. And like I said, roughly around World 3 is where it starts to get a little more, you know, out of hand, I guess you could say. It's not really that, like, bad as far as difficulty goes. But, you know, for someone who hasn't really played the game before, this is probably where you're going to start getting a lot of the challenge. Because a lot of the stuff that got set up in the first 2 worlds are going to become a little more common. And they're going to, in some cases, not all, but in some cases, they're going to cause you to, like, have to think outside the box a little bit. Ouch. That wasn't cool. I think there is, like, more stars before the end, but, you know, as stated before, this is not a 100% run, but I'm not gonna intentionally like rush through the game, and I'm not gonna like, you know, not gonna rush through the game, and I'm not going to intentionally do bad. You gotta be careful, those monkeys will grab Mario and take off. Alright, well I guess like stars are the only things that I didn't really have. That's fine. Are you gonna get a bonus? Gonna get a bonus? Of course not. Such is the life, you know, no bonuses. Yeah, I was 3 stars short. That's fine, it's whatever. I will say though that this level has my favorite bosses in the game. Both level 3, 4, and 3, 8 have the best bosses in my opinion. Jungle, Rhythm. Of course, you can, like, if you know how to do it, You can instantly, like... Kirby? Like, if you know how to do it, you can instantly, like, kill the boss for 3-8. It's pretty funny because Kamek is almost like, what? Like, he shows up and he's like, what? But I don't think I'm gonna do that in this playthrough because, like, you know, I want to show it in its entirety, in its glory. It's like my favorite boss. It's pretty cool. And then you get these weird checkered, I guess they're checkerboard platforms. I missed the right coin. Gee, that guy, he was laughing at me. He took off with it. I don't think he'll come back, but that's whatever. But those checkerboard platforms make me think of like Kirby's Dream Course. Alright, Poochie, let's do it. I had a lot of fun doing the Kirby's Dream Course playthrough. It was really fun to like go back through and actually replay the game after like a long time of not really playing it like that far. Like I usually when I play the game, you know, I play a couple of levels and then like that's it, you know, because I usually get my fill because it's fun. I love the game, but like I don't know, it's not really one of those that I'm just like always like gonna sit down and play the whole thing, you know. Sometimes that happens. Like I get that way sometimes with Donkey Kong Country, you know. I'll start Donkey Kong Country and then play through it like a couple of worlds and then I'm just like, alright, I'm good. But then again, I've probably played through the entirety of Donkey Kong Country, all three of them, like maybe about 40 times or something. Because like I said in that Let's Play, that was something that me and my family, we always like played it like 2 or 3 times a year. Not a whole lot of games these days that I necessarily can do that, like newer games, I guess, but like, I don't know, like, sometimes I'll find some games I can do that with, but I don't know, it's not as captivating to me, I guess, a lot of more modern games, and it might be just because of like how long a lot of them are, if we're being honest. Like, I like the, you know, I can play a game that takes like 40 hours to play through because that means that like I have that one game for a while. But like, oh, I forgot to read the instructions to this one. I kind of just assumed it was one we were doing. It's basically the, you know, match 2 puzzle. But yeah, like I was saying, what was I? Yeah, so like, you know, just the extent of like the, was that one over here? Okay, we're still in the game. I think the melons, I think this one was a blue melon. 20 stars, I think, was this one, right? Okay, cool. Blue melon, blue melon. And now, as long as I don't, you know, be stupid, I could probably... Okay, yeah, I remember this one was down here. Okay, cool. Look at all these... Look at all these beautiful items we get. And we get 10 lives for getting everything done. Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that amazing? But, anyway, like I was saying, going back to what I was saying, like, you know, a lot of modern games are pretty long, and I think that's kind of one of the reasons why it's not like, I'm going to sit here and play through it, you know, 3 or 4 times in a row. Or, like, multiple times. I mean, I played Stellar Blade for the first time not too terribly long ago, and the thing about Stellar Blade was that, like, I ended up getting all the trophies in it because, like I've mentioned before, not really a trophy hunter in games, but, like, if they're not that bad, like, and I think they're doable, like, I'll collect them. And, Stellar Blade was one of those games that was, like, not hard to platinum. Well, not really that it wasn't hard to platinum it. It wasn't like there wasn't anything super annoying. The only thing that was kind of annoying to me was that it had, like, the, you need to do multiple playthroughs because there's multiple endings. And unlike some other games where you can, save the game before the choice that, like, dictates what ending you're gonna get, like, you had to, like, I'm missing a bunch of red coins, but I don't have anything to get that blarg to go away. But, like, you didn't, you save the game saves after you make the choice, so even if you go back to the, final save of the game, it's before the fight, but after the choice is already made. So, you jerk, get over here. So it's like you can't just, like, reload the game, make a different decision. So I ended up, and of course, like, 2 of the endings are virtually the same, but, like, it requires you to have a different, what's the word I'm looking for? So there's a character that you have to, like, get. I'm pausing here because well, let me talk about these guys. So right quick, these penguins are only in, like, 2 parts of the game, but they're, like, you jump on the big penguin's head and you can get the smaller penguins as, like, eggs, basically, and they're, like, it kind of sucks that they're only in, like, 2 parts of the game, because it's really funny because you throw them and they come right back like a boomerang, and I think you can only have, like, 4 at a time. Can't have, like, all 6 at a time. Oh, well, maybe I'm just wrong about that. I guess you can have 6 at a time. But I wish you could have them more, because I think they're funny. I think they're great. These shy guys, and you jump on their heads, they spit out, like, seeds and stuff. I don't know why. It's just funny. And, but going back, to finish what I was saying about Stellar Blade, and I'll move on, it's just that, like, there's a point in the game. Yeah, well, not the point in the game. There's a not so evident statistic type thing that, like, happens in the game. Kind of like how in, like, what game is it that I'm thinking of? In Persona, where, like, your social stats, as far as, like, charisma or knowledge or something like that, might just randomly upgrade after a while. It's kind of like that, where, like, every so often it's not really clear how the meter is filled, but if the meter is filled for one particular character, it changes the ending. So there's 2 endings literally based off of, like, did this character like you enough or not? So that was, after I ended up getting all the other trophies, it was literally just run through the game. The second playthrough was, like, getting all of the skills unlocked, and then, like, it was kind of like that. Get all the skills unlocked. Oh, careful. I'm gonna have to, like, do this again. So I get all the skills unlocked, and it allows you to, in order to do that, one of the things that I noticed I had to do was, like, do a bunch of side quests and stuff. And, you know, once I did that, it was just like, got it unlocked, it was just run through the game. I kind of noticed that if you don't really pay attention to the story all that much, like the game itself only really lasts about maybe 4 or 5 hours. It's not a very long game. And really it's like all the side questy stuff is where you like get a lot of the you know, the extended time to play. But it was a pretty fun game. I don't know if they ever intend on making a sequel to it. I kind of hope they don't. Just simply because I felt like the story of the game, even if you got the, you know, the best ending, kind of felt like it was wrapped up. And it would just kind of belabor the point to make a sequel, in my opinion. But if they made another game similar to it, that would be cool. There's definitely a few things that, like, I would like to have seen some kind of improvement over, but, like, it was a pretty good game. Like, it's, like, I definitely think it's worth picking up, but in my opinion, it might be worth waiting for it to be on, like, discount or something like that. But it was a pretty good game. But I think I'm gonna, you know, stop that there because I think ooh, careful, watch out for the frogs. I don't want to lose, man, I didn't want to lose one of my penguins. But, I think I spoke longer about that than oh, come on now. There we go. I think I spoke a little bit longer about Stellar Blade than I wanted to. I didn't bring it up to sit and talk about it. Beyond, you know, making the point that it was something I played recently, and it's not really that long of a game, technically. But also at the same time, going back to what I was initially talking about, is I think one of the reasons I don't get as super invested in a lot of more modern games is because of how long it takes to get through the game. You know, like something like Resident Evil 4, the original, the remake was pretty good, but the original Resident Evil 4 is that, like, it had just the right level of, like, you know, the feedback loop was just right, that, like, it was really fun to replay the game. The original, I probably played it like 80-90 times. I'm not even kidding. That's not an exaggeration. I remember that my original save file that I had on my PS2 before it got erased was like in the 60s, and I've probably played it a 30 or 40 more times since. So I'm not joking when I say I've played that game to death or not and back. But like I said, it had about the right level of feedback loop that was really fun to just keep playing, especially when you had like cleared the game and it was, oh, come on, man. Especially when it was like you finished like the game. Whoa. Yeah, you finish the game and you have all these upgrades and, like, you know, better weapons and stuff, and you're just kind of like running through and like acing people, like acing out the enemies and stuff. Like, it was, you know, it was definitely really fun to keep playing through that game over and over and over again. Are we gonna get another bonus? Nope. I guess they were like, you got too many items last time. But, yeah. So, and in Resident Evil 4, especially if you skip all the cutscenes, is maybe about like a 5 or 6 hour playthrough. Unless you really, really, really rush it, you could probably get it under 4. So it's very easy to like play through the game and get invested in it. And this one is Prince Froggy's Fort. So it's really easy to, you know, play through it, pick it back up, and like play through it again over and over and over again. Plus it's really fun. And, you know, it was probably the last game that I can think of Well, no, the last game I think I can think of doing that with was Silent Hill 2. Because I got Silent Hill 2 like around 2010 or something like that, and I just like I think I've talked about it before. There was like one weekend that I literally played through the game like 6 or 7 times just to get all the different endings, and I got like so good at it, it took like no time at all to do. But yeah, so I think the last time I did that, damn it, these crabs take what, 3 hits apiece? I don't think I'm gonna have enough eggs for that. The last time I did something like that was that time I played Silent Hill 2, because like you know, depending on the game and how fun it is and satisfying and stuff, like playing it over and over and over again, you know, it's not that it gets boring, it's like there's so many other games, man. We have like in 2025 we have a beautiful problem, and that problem is there's too many good games. And it's not really a problem, obviously. I'm being a bit facetious by saying that. But we just have too many good games. Like, you know, like everybody... There's like a game for everybody, you know what I mean? And I kind of find it a little strange when somebody gets super defensive if somebody doesn't like a game that they like, or you know, they want their favorite streamer or something, or someone to play a game that they love, and it's like they get a little offended if the streamer's like, yeah, I'm just not into it. And it's like, you know, like that's okay. Like it's not really gonna stop you from being able to enjoy the game. I mean, I kind of understand it from the perspective of like you want to share that camaraderie with your favorite streamers or, you know, content creators, but like at the same time it's like that's okay. You can still play the game and enjoy it and have a good time. Like, you know, it's like I can't remember. I don't think I said anything about this. I'm thinking maybe back to a conversation I did have, but it wasn't on like this recording. Or I don't think I've ever mentioned it in like a recording, but I don't understand. I never understood the, you know, I can't watch a critique of a movie or a game that I like where they actually point out like maybe design problems. Like I don't get that, because like if you enjoyed the game before you knew, like why would you let it ruin your experience after? I honestly, when I watch like evaluations or like reviews of like movies or games that I like, and the person points out something bad, like I might think about it and consider it. But I usually just laugh at it, because most of the time it's like non-issues that like a lot of the people freak out about. Because like I know I've talked about it before. I would really love to do a Legend of Zelda or Zelda 2 Adventure of Link playthrough, but YouTube, like for some reason, and I know it happens a lot with the Palace theme, but a lot of the music gets copyright claimed like crazy. And I haven't had to deal with anything like that yet, luckily, but like I don't want to, you know, I don't want to play a game that's gonna like basically be like putting a target on my back, you know what I mean? Because like I'm not a big content creator. I don't have that level of like, I don't know what you say, like, you know, where the platform is a little more forgiving because you bring a lot of people to it. Like I don't think I'll ever be that. I don't really want to be that, to be honest. And you know, because this is just a hobby and for fun, and I would really hate to lose the channel over like, you know, my hobby channel stuff, like over, oh come on dude, There we go. I'd really hate to lose it over, like, I played a game I wanted to play and, like, I knew that it was going to be, like, something that was going to get claimed to heck and back, and then it was, like, you know, it's gone. And, like, I could have prevented that by just not, come on. Come on. See those guys lining up there? Like, God, you suck. It's like, yeah, I know. Thanks for reminding me. But, yeah, like I was saying, I just don't want to, like, intentionally lose my channel, or, well, not intentionally, but I don't want to lose my channel because I played a game that I knew was going to, like, get me in trouble or whatever. So, you know, there's that. But I think I'm going to drop that because, like, it's probably not that interesting to listen to. Maybe it is, maybe it's not, I don't know. But like I was saying, I really want to play Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link. I'm not very good at it. Whoa. But, like, you know, a lot of people complain about it. And I can see their arguments, but, like, I don't know. I think a lot of the stuff they argue about is kind of just, like... Look at that smug face over there. He's like, yeah, come on over, dude. Come on. But, like, that... a lot of this stuff, I think, is not really that big of a deal. Anyway, great job, Yoshi. Now you will be Froggy's lunch. What? Oh, no. We're the ones getting magicked. Yep. So this fight's pretty cool because, like, you're inside a frog and you're, like, fighting a frog from the inside, basically. And trying not to get, you know, stomach acid. He'll eat like a Shy Guy and you just, you know, attack his uvula with the very normal sized eggs of these, like, normal sized Shy Guys. But you gotta, it's kind of crazy to think, like, how big, like, of like an object or an enemy can Yoshi eat? Because these Shy Guys are, like, the size of Yoshi, you know? Ooh, that was close. You see that? He almost hit me. Like, these Shy Guys are, like, literally the size of Yoshi. And he can still, like, swallow and make eggs. And then, of course, you know, indigestion sets in. A little IBS, and we're back out. And they both are like, oh, man, let's try and forget that incident. Alright, 98, that's not bad. It's gonna take a very, very steep drop starting in the next area. But I think that's where I'm going to call the video today. Appreciate you watching. Who made it to this point in the video, I really, really appreciate it, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.